to Life Talks with Immaculate and Sarah. So for today, we're going to talk about whatever my mom decides to ask me. So we'll find out as she asks, because I don't have a clue either. So, mother,
daughter,
you might not be asking me nonsense.
I'm asking you today, how is marriage?
Oh, for real?
Yeah, it's almost 2 years since you got married. So I'm curious, how is marriage treating you?
I don't know. Well, it's not bad. Everyone used to. A lot of people used to tell me that the first year of marriage is really, really hard. And first, I didn't understand the need for marriage. So when people would say first year is hard, but it will pass, and then the 7 year each, I used to be like, what is that point? But it's been surprisingly good. Like, it's been surprisingly fine, to be honest. I don't really have anything to say much about it because it's been COVID. It's just learning to adjust to each other in COVID was probably sounds terrible because I know people have really suffered, but COVID probably saved my marriage. Like the adjustment.
Saved your marriage.
Yeah, because I want to be home. I want to be home here all the time. Whereas with COVID and the lockdown, I had to stay in my own house. Although I only last 3 days and I need to get out of there. It just helped because we moved in and then 2 months later, COVID hit. But I would get home and then I would just wait around for him to get home. So by the time he got home, I was like, so tell me, how was your day? What's going on? And it was just a lot for the poor man. Like,
You're stressed out.
I was just like, one time he's like, he was like standing out inside the bathroom and I was outside. And I was like, what are you doing? He's like, I need to go to the bathroom. I'm like, so? He's like, you followed me from the kitchen to up the stairs to changing, and now I need to go to the bathroom. And I was like, oh yeah, you need your own privacy. But that's how much I needed conversation and other people. So instead, I was like, I'm just going to my mom's. Like day 2, I'm lonely. I need to go see my mom and my brothers. And so I think COVID, I had to really learn to stay home. And it made me really lonely for a few days. And then I just learned how to adjust and actually be in my own home and be in his company all the time. Because, I talk a lot. He talks too, but not as much as I do.
I know, you're a chatterbox.
Yeah, so...
You do know that you have to let the other person have their own time, what they call me time.
They went to work. They didn't have me time there.
No, that's what. Everybody needs a me time, including you. You have to have time for yourself. That's the time you think.
But I do that in the bathroom. No. Like when I go to the shower, the long showers.
Sometimes, like the same way, like you leave time for your husband to have his friends.
But that's why I think coming home is, it's been COVID, there's no friends you're seeing. Yeah. Nobody's seeing anyone. So it's different for us.
And also, he should let you be with your friends some days.
But we've been in COVID.
I know, that's the problem.
Yeah.
But now, like when they open, you need to have time with your own friends. And he has time with his own friends. Because the two of you cannot be together 24/7.
Well, we have no choice. It's been the advice you're giving me is so relatable after.
Yeah, but for now, but it helped you.
It was useful for me, especially because he would really like alone time. He is very I'm pretty sure. Like I would probably say things like, "Oh my goodness, I missed you. It's been a whole it's been so long," and he's like, "Sarah, it was only a day." So I think it was also useful for him because he's so independent, emotionally, physically, everything. He's really independent. So I think this was useful because he had to learn to
live
there with me, especially
with your talking.
I know, but I don't know if he managed me sharing this, but one time, that's how I knew I got to him. The man woke up, he came downstairs, and removed the Playbox thing, the Xbox, detached everything, took it upstairs, didn't say a word, closed the room, and I didn't see him the whole day. He didn't come down for lunch, he didn't come down for dinner.
He didn't go and knock.
No, I was like, man, it's rough right now. I must have talked the death out of him that he's friend.
I need to close
And he
the loop.
likes personal time. Like he's really, whereas
Yeah,
for
everybody
me, I
needs
grew up in a
personal
large
time.
family, so
Yeah.
personal time does not make much sense to me.
Yeah.
What do you mean you want to be personal?
Yeah, that's the time that he does his own things.
Poor man. But the next day, I didn't say anything. I text like when it was like past a certain hour. I was like, "Hey, do you wanna have dinner?" Like when I didn't hear back, I said, "Okay." I didn't say anything. The time came. I went to bed. That was great. I watched TV on my own. I don't really care. I like people. I like people. I'm a people person.
But you have grown up in a large
If
family.
I'm upset, send me where people are, and I'll be fine.
Yeah.
Like I need that energy. And so the hardest thing about being married for the last year and a half is the lack of people. But like that's where family comes in. I know in the depth of the lockdown, I used to be like, I will come and see you by the window. Anybody talk to me. But I think he was good at adjusting, like helping adjust to me as well. But yeah, the talking, man, that man left for a whole day. I'll never forget.
You are talking out
I
of
think you
your life.
escape in your own home. You are crazy. But yeah.
You do need that. So what do you think? Like, how is marriage? Like, what is nice and what is good?
I don't know. I think what is really, really nice.
Is the love still there?
Yeah. I think we had our dating maybe was more challenging because we had difficult conversations. So marriage is easier. The thing I love the most about being married, I don't know, like he's my friend. So it's so hard. Like I don't look at myself, I'm like, oh, I'm married, it's weird. The only time I say saying husband is because of this YouTube thing, because I don't want to be like his name so and so. And the first few times it was like yuck in my ear. But so because it's been my friend for like 16 years, it's weird to say like, oh, my husband. That's just weird. Or if he's like, oh, my wife, I'm like, that's weird. So like for me it's just odd. But the best thing about being married in my marriage is like he's my friend. You know, like I genuinely have a good time with him. Like maybe that's why I keep talking and I don't give him his personal space. I just like being around him. Like I have fun. You know, we can talk. I just like him.
Does
Like,
it make you laugh?
Yeah, he's funny, but I'm funnier. He says I can laugh at my own jokes. I'm like, wait till I tell you. But I just like him. I just like him. It's not like, oh, I love him to death. Yeah, I do, but I like the person that he is. So I probably love him more as a friend than love him as my husband. And maybe now I'm learning to be what is a husband.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why I'm learning to be
a wife now.
Yeah. Sometimes I'm like, call me your girlfriend because it sounds more fun. Wife is like, hey,
old.
Not old. It's like, oh.
What's that?
No, I
just love being married.
I like
But
being
what about
married,
him? Does he find you funny or?
He knows I'm funnier. So sometimes he's like, you know, you're really funny, or you're like, that's a good one, and I'm like, I know. But it's interesting that like I teach him things, even like songs that he doesn't know, or like the African culture, and he's like, I'm embracing the Irish culture now. Like I think, oh, I'm Irish because I've lived here, and you know. But when you're living with somebody who is actually Irish, you learn to be Irish, if that makes sense. But like I know and I trust that he has my best interest at heart, and obviously I have his best interest at heart. And like what I love about our marriage is like I get along, he gets along with my family, and I get along with his family. So I think that helps a lot. But yeah, I like him.
Didn't the two of you have cultural shock or?
Cultural shock? No. Maybe the only shock was sandwiches. We talked about it before. Yeah, it's just like I like a homemade meal. So when you know you can't cook all the time, and then when he would be making sandwiches, I was like, oh, I don't eat that. Like you know, in Uganda we don't really like. In my family we don't. Hey, I told you guys before, hunger strike.
Hey, and the sandwiches when.
Mommy, I eat tuna sandwiches at least once or twice or 3 times a week. I can't do ham, but I will have ham in a croissant, and that is when you know hunger is serious. And then like I never knew about egg mayonnaise. Like, but now I can have egg mayonnaise and salmon, and it's really, really nice. The best thing about it is like we both cook, which is easy, but I've learned to eat things that, and I'm a picky eater. So I've learned to eat things that he would make or he would have grown up with, and he's learned to eat things that I would make and like my kind of snacks. You know, I'm adjusting to the things that he likes that I'm just like, nah, I won't have that. But he'll eat anything. He's great to take to
Oh,
public
that's good.
because I'm a picky eater, and taking him, I'm like, if I need to pass a plate underneath the table, I know he's got me. So there's no real cultural shock, but I've lived here now sadly longer than I have in Uganda. So, and all my adulting life, the things that culture shock when I talk about dowry, for example, where it's like, fine, that dowry needs to be paid, or like things about like my childhood, but it's no culture shock. He's more curious. Sometimes I wish I would love to watch him as the child. Like I don't know, it's creepy, but I would love to have, as the wife now, I would love to have seen him as a child, to understand him as a child, and the things that he found funny, the things that he loved. I don't know. I feel like, I don't know.
You can ask.
I don't know.
You can always ask.
It's true. And we talk about a lot of things, but I'd just like to be a fly.
No.
Like in his childhood, just see.
Yeah. But sometimes the things come out like what he was a child. You might be like now as an adult, he tries to kind of cover some things, but like as a child, your character always is there. You have seen with me.
Yeah.
I'm old, but sometimes
You're not that old.
he always says that when you know talks about
It's
being
true.
old.
He always says you're the one person who loves old age. I'm always old.
I'm actually
old.
looking forward to being really old.
Just looking forward to
Maybe
retiring
because I
now.
saw my parents when they were old, they were fun, kind of.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah.
I don't fear old age either.
I like
because
to be
of that.
old, like, because now I just assume that my life will be nice and funny the way my parents had as well. So,
Probably will.
yeah, hopefully. So that's good to hear. Because I was worried this marriage is not going to work.
That's why you did. Hey, I was just about when you asked for marriage.
Because I was wondering, because that is auditing me now as the parent.
Okay. Where were you? Dealing with the work.
Because first of all, you never used to like getting married.
Yeah, it did
You
make sense.
never talked about marriage.
Or plans. No.
So when you go, actually that's why when he came to ask me for your hand in marriage, I was,
You don't know the one you're asking for.
I don't know, like how did because he said he was shocked that he always thought I liked him, but
So
when
you
he
don't like it?
no, I like him.
Because said you thought.
No, that's what he said. Like when he came to ask for your hand in marriage, I was kind of
She
shocked.
was so upset.
Yeah.
Because you're like, what?
Yeah. Because
And I told him, that's Immaculate. Be careful. Pick your friend. Because she can turn on
she
you.
can change.
And he's like, no, we're good buddies. Like, and it's like, then when he asked and you were like, what? He's
I
like,
changed. I became
she
the
was
mother.
upset. He was upset. He's like, how dare that woman? Like, we're friends.
Because then I realized, oh my God, my child, he's going to suffer. And to me, you're always a baby, like, you know. And I was thinking, did I do right?
It's hard to marry off your kids.
It is. There is a little bit of loss because the closeness, like, as you know, I'm very close to all my children. And especially you, because when we were here, we had our galley days and galley times going to window shop and all that like that. I miss that.
Well, it's been COVID.
Yeah, but like COVID now and you're working as well, so I have to mind.
I spend my
Sometimes
time here
I know.
than anywhere else.
But like sometimes I need to call you, then I remember you're working, you know, and all this. Because before when you're living here, we just walk into your room and we talk. And remember when we used to sit in the car and talk for hours, you know? So like now, like my life is a little bit, I could say a little bit lonely. Because the boys, much as they, like, there are certain things I don't talk with the boys, obviously, like. But the boys are good as well. Like, we always calm down. Like, during COVID, everybody was staying in their room. We came to the dining, like, one by one. So that was difficult as well. But now we have learned how to deal with that. Like, when I come from work, sometimes I go straight and shower and calm down and
I've never thought about me moving out or me getting married from your point of view, to be honest. Maybe I was so consumed by how emotionally scarred I was. Because I cried almost every day, at least a month or two before I moved out. The thought of not coming home absolutely broke my heart. because home is my comfort. It's like if I'm upset, I want to come home. It's just it's interesting, but it's just when I'm turning the corner and I can see the back of your car, like the lights, I automatically feel comforted. I feel like I'm going home. The essence, what people say home, and knowing my siblings are in the house, I'm going to laugh. They don't need to ask me if I'm upset or not. I just know I'm going to be okay. And I'm going to tell them what's going on without filtering or feeling vulnerable. I just felt lonely living home. Also because I never lived out of home.
And you have been with a lot of people. Our home family is large.
And being in a 3-bedroom, I used to, like, I went through even guilt. And I'm like, why am I here? The house is so big that people in the country suffering for housing. And I have this empty home. Because I was just used to
a big,
lot
large
of
family.
people. So I never thought about it from your point of view when I left. But every time when we first moved out and I would come home, every time we left home, I cried in the car. And I'm on 5 minutes down the road.
And I used to be at your place all the time.
He used to come like every other day, then I would come here.
Yeah.
But I don't know. That was just...
No, it's learning to be alone, like independent. It's not being alone.
I don't know if it's independent. Maybe independent
like
from
because
family.
We have never separated.
Yeah.
We are like...
When I was on my mission and I didn't live from home, I think that's why marriage was harder, like moving out. Because when I went to America, I don't remember sleeping, but I remember
you used to write down that you never sleep.
I was so home depressed, like homesick. Like homesickness is a sickness to that point that in the night, I would imagine myself in your room and me in bed, the way we would like lie in bed and fall asleep. And I would imagine and I would force my body and my mind to sink into that place until the morning would come. Then I'd wake up and get showered and stuff. I don't remember sleeping on my mission. I was painfully homesick.
Yeah, because it was the first time you left by yourself and left us here and you went.
I feel like I'm abandoned when I leave
For
home.
me,
So
your room was like a shrine. Nobody could go.
Such a weirdo.
I remember when one day Peter went to your room. And I said, what are you doing there? Like, I was shocked. What is happened? How could he go to your room?
Your own child.
Yeah. I said, what is he doing in Sarah's room? You know, that's how sacred your room had become to me. Because I would just go there and imagine you being there.
I think that was the great thing about moving out. And then good and bad, I moved out and then we moved homes, family homes. Slightly I was sad because I had no room. But it forced me to fully move out because for 6 months I had a full wardrobe and every toothbrush, everything at home. And I had the same thing in my marriage home. So, and I never slept over for that reason because I knew if I dare sleep over,
you will not move.
I am not going back. So I did. So I think about 8 months, no, actually a whole year later, it was actually this year, I actually came and I slept over. And I remember saying, and I was like, do I say I'm going to stay over at my mom's? Like, oh, do I say, do I not say? I don't know. And it was an awkward internal conversation. And I was like, hey, I think I'm going to stay at my mom's house. And it's like, something wrong? I was like, no, I just kind of want to go stay over. And I made up all these excuses to why. Because he's never stayed at home since we moved out. And this was going to be my first time. And he dropped me. We stayed around. We lingered. I said bye. And it was just awkward. You know, but the room was different. It was no longer, it's home, but it was no longer where I come and sleep.
No,
you know what I mean?
It doesn't feel like your own.
Yeah, like he went home and he poured 2 glasses of water to bring up to bed, but he had just dropped me off. I forgot water in my room because I'm used to him pouring the water, you know, for bed. And I could tell it was just different. And I think that one day was good for me. Although I remember I came up and you had ironed pajamas for me, and I was like, this is what home is. And he does the same things. He tries to mimic things that I love about being home, that, you know,
that is good. He's a good husband.
He's a
so far,
he's a good husband. So please God. Yeah.
Because he does understand that you need to be home sometimes. Yeah. Like,
if he didn't, it would not last 2 months. I'm sorry.
So I'm glad to know that everything works out.
What is the hardest thing about you marrying off your kids?
Like, I don't like I keep imagining the suffering, like, because marriage is not easy. Because I keep worrying, and they may be suffering quietly without letting me know
I don't
that
think I
you
could
have.
ever suffer in silence.
Yeah, not the time.
No.
I
I don't
think-
know how to fight.
Mm.
But first finish what you're saying.
So those are things I worry
Yeah.
about. Like in case I'm worried that in case you're not, the marriage is not working out
And I'm
and
scared.
you're suffering there, are you going to talk to me about it? But I can kind of remember that I made all of you like feel free to talk to me, like comfortable, like to mention anything, no matter what. So I just keep wondering, and you didn't talk about your marriage much, so that's why.
You'd always be like, how is home? And I'm like, I'm home. You're like, no, how's your house? I'm like, stop calling it my home. I'll be so upset.
Yeah.
And you'd be like, how is the house? And you kept saying, oh, how is the house? I'm like, it's fine, it's a house. The walls are still standing. And I was like, Mommy, why do you keep asking me about the house? And you're like, no, I'm asking how you guys are. And I'm like, we're fine. And truly, we are fine.
Oh, good.
Like
I'm
there
happy
is,
to
and
hear
I
that.
love my mother-in-law because recently she asked me, it threw me off, but she asked me, she's like, how are you guys? And it's like, I love you. Like you care for me, but you also care for your son and for his well-being. And I'm lucky that like I really do get along with her, and like
And
I
the family-
really
the
do
family
love
is
her,
really
and
good.
like yeah, and my in-laws. So it just those, and maybe for me, COVID, the hard thing about it, for me, the way I know you love me is spending time with me. Like if you don't spend time with me, that's actually hard. I feel like it
There's
hands
a
off.
distance.
So I know getting married, one of the hardest things is, even right before COVID, we moved in and it was 2 months. People have this idea of like, oh, the newlyweds, leave them alone. It's not like we're having sex all the time, banging all over the place. We are not. And that used to irritate me and upset me because I need people. And that's how I know people love me. They spend time with me, they check up on me. So those
No,
last
we're
2
just
months were
being reasonable.
irritating.
But I used to come there nearly.
Yeah, you were fine because I told you straight up. I was like, you better.
You better be coming.
You better come and see me. Like, but I think the thing I would say has been the hardest about being married and moving out this past, like 18 months or like up to 2 years. I don't know how to fight. So it's upsetting because I never fought anybody. I never got into fist fights. I don't want to get into fist fights with my husband, but like I just never fought. I'm not confrontational.
But that's
I've
the
never
good trait
needed to be
have.
confrontational with anyone.
For me, I used
But
to.
marriage, there is disagreements.
When we had a disagreement, and me, I will come, and you know me, I sleep alone.
You
So
fall asleep.
when he's quarreling, I'm just sleeping, and then he will wake me. I'm talking to you. I said,
Yeah. Please go on.
I have not had a single thing he was complaining about. Then in the morning, I asked, and he said, but yesterday when I wanted to talk to you, you were sleeping.
Yeah.
I said, now talk to me now. I'm
No,
awake now.
we never fought at home. Like to the extent that if I'm anywhere in someone else's home or you're like on the street and people fight or start to bicker, I get really.
Takes
I
you
get
back.
it takes me back. I
Because
get
that's not
panicky
the
and
kind of
nervous.
home we had.
So, but
Yeah.
it's not good because in my marriage there are times where there is a disagreement. To be honest, they're like, excuse me, it's not often, if ever, because I think I don't know how to fight. I would love to be those women who bang the things and throw the plates.
You
I
don't
would love to
that's
be
not a
dramatic.
good home to be. Even
Yeah.
you yourself, you'll not like it.
Maybe, but for me,
Maybe.
when I'm upset,
some
and
water.
let's say it's not a fight. Like I am the kind of person. If you're upset, I'm upset. Let's take time apart. Then let's sit down. You tell me your points. I tell you my points. We come to an agreement and we move on. I'd like a very structured fight.
So you don't use silence as a weapon.
Oh, I'm a very silent fighter. Not as a weapon, because I don't know how
women
to
usually
fight.
silence
It's
is
not
a
as a
weapon.
weapon. I get so agitated. I lose words. My next best thing is to be quiet. And if I'm too upset, if I'm upset and I still keep talking, I'm not really that mad. But if it's really got to me, firstly, I don't want to apologize for things I said. So when I am in the extreme climax of a fight and I can feel it, I go quiet. I just can't talk anymore because I need time to think about how I'm going to abuse you so I don't have to apologize later. I want to make sure that you understand my points and you don't think, oh, I'm just upset. I want you to know I'm really upset and this is why. I want to have a solution at the end of this fight.
That's good.
So I don't believe in don't go to bed angry because I just need time. I need time to process, to understand why you may be coming from a point of view, to understand why am I coming from that point of view, what's causing this irritation? Am I hungry? First, I don't like you to fight me before I've eaten food. Because I want to eat. I want to be satisfied. Now I'm upset. Now I don't want to eat. Now I'm upset that I don't want to eat. So don't start the fight before
you eat first.
Yeah. Hold your mouth. Let me eat. Then bring
I
up the
cannot wait for
This
that.
is my point. I'm bad. In my marriage, I know something I could improve is not fight. I don't know if fight is the right word, but in the moment, I don't have heated in the moment. I will walk away and the person's like, oh, very mature. Look at you walking away. And I'm just like, I went to bed. I went to bed. I'm so done.
I would
I'm
have been
lazy.
the same kind of person.
But it's not
Me,
good.
like when I'm annoyed, I'm silent.
But it's not as a weapon. The silence for me is
No,
really
but
bad.
I'm just asking because some women use silence.
So far, no.
Like, because then if the person is silent, you don't know how to talk to the person. You have to wait until the anger goes down, kind of. But for me, I rarely get annoyed as well myself.
Yeah, I'm just...
You must have done something really terrible for me to be angry. Otherwise, I just...
Maybe if you touch on my family, a comment about family or finances, hey, the anger comes, but then I go quiet. But my problem, I feel like I get so angry, I don't know how to express myself, then I cry. And I don't want to cry. I don't want, it makes you vulnerable.
But like crying sometimes relieves you.
But I don't want to cry. I want to be those women
Then
who are strong and
cry. You can not.
That's why I need to walk away and just deal with my emotions. You can cry by
yourself.
Yeah, and I think
like
that's what I hate about marriage. You're vulnerable. Like you're stuck in this house. How you feel, you're there, and working from home makes it worse because you have a bad day in work. You're in that environment. You're home. The partner is there. They can tell you're upset. You're constantly. There's no alone time. There's no I'll be on the bus.
That's why I told you that you
need
to alone time sometimes.
Yeah.
Like when the place opens up.
I think it's going to be harder for us to adjust to
not
COVID because all we've known.
Like today I went to the shops for after how many months that we didn't go to the shops.
5 months.
First of all, I couldn't get out of the car. I was wondering, should I go in? Should I not? Then I got out and I just got addicted to the shop, then going from one shop to the other, checking what is there and what are they doing. But most of the shops, like, they were not so busy.
Yes, it's easy.
Yeah, so at that time when I went, and they are kind of trying to rearrange the shops. So it is not as it used to be like. Yeah,
it will just be adjusting to other people and us being
and having people, because I was conscious that I can't be close to people. So, like, even though we were all, but I was impressed. Like, everybody was wearing masks. People were observing, like, the social distancing. It was good. Like, if you found, like, because sometimes when you are looking, you find yourself, and I moved quickly, and somebody just smiled because they realized that I noticed that the social distancing was shrinking. So the shops are okay. So maybe the next week, then people get used to. So. Is there anything you want to ask me about marriage or anything?
No. To be honest, I'm just swinging it as I go.
I'm like, good.
We'll figure it out as we go.
I'm happy to hear that.
But I'm genuinely happy. I don't think I could suffer in silence. No, it's not worth it. Life is too short. Like, and I know the situations that can hold me in it. We are both too selfish to stay. Like, I'm extremely selfish. He's extremely selfish. Two selfish people cannot stay in an unhealthy situation. I don't think we are those people.
How selfish are you?
No, like we couldn't. Like, no, like being happy is really important to me.
Yeah, that's good.
And being happy
because usually, like, that's the good thing. Usually, they used to say, like, when you go to, I went to marriage counseling before I got married. They always used to tell us it's better to be friends.
And I think that maybe that's why it's easier.
Yeah, it makes it
easier.
easier.
I am nervous about having kids, if we do have kids, because everyone say the first year would be hard, the first year was fine.
No, but it depends.
Second year would maybe hard, and I was like, oh shit, it's going to be in the second year.
But it depends on the two characters.
Now I'm like, oh Lord, when these children come, they're going to ruin a good thing.
No. What do you love your kids?
Yeah, but will I love my husband still?
Yeah, you love your husband plus your kids.
Yeah, I hope
you cannot love only your kids and leave the husband. Then the husband will become lonely.
Yeah.
Definitely, you have to keep in tune though. Most women leave themselves after giving.
Don't worry, you told me, don't be wearing pajamas all the time. And I was like, loungewear. I listened. Now I wear nice clothes during the day.
Keep on tune.
I've been knowing what clothes he likes. And those are the ones I'll be wearing around the
Yeah.
house.
Because when you give birth, it is easy to kind of let yourself go.
Yeah, but you're tired. And I don't know. We'll see when that time comes.
Yeah, but like we are here now. We will have.
I do have a successful marriage currently because of the family support that I have and the family support that he has. And, you know, my friends didn't abandon me. So that helps. And like people, my community at church, they still checked up on me. I remember one gentleman who's friends of mine, the family that friends from America sent me like a cake, sent us a cake for Christmas. And one of these gentlemen came to drop it and he stayed with me. And he just asked me how I was doing. My husband had gone out to get his haircut or something. And he stayed, and it wasn't lockdown at the time. And he stayed, I think, a whole evening. And I cooked, I cleaned, I did what I needed to do. And he just stayed and he checked up on me and he asked me how I was doing and marriage. And I felt so loved. I remember thinking, these are the people who care for me and for my success in my marriage. But different people have contributed to it, like the friends at church, the church community that I have. Thank you very much if you do watch this. From being like, Sarah, what will you need? Do you need plates, cups, dishes? You know who you were. And bringing these things to my homes. I didn't have to, they alleviated the stress. And, you know, my whole kitchen is literally people from church. Like, you know, gave me all those things. My mother-in-law gifted me pans. Like, you guys, extras that were in the house, like, you saved us so much money and stress. And the people who gifted us through the wedding, thank you. You really made marriage so much easier. Like, it is successful because genuinely, because of that family support and the friends, like the community around us have helped us be successful. So I believe everyone who was invited to the wedding or not, they were truly there to make sure that I was successful in this thing. I was not. I was like, marriage was. So I am grateful. Like, I give that credit to them.
I'm sure your mission couples and mission.
I'm sure people are shocked I got married. Even I'm shocked.
And you stayed for two.
And I'm staying for 2. I need a medal.
For your happiness.
Yeah, I did screw it up.
You have to go, like, when they open up the country, you have to go to America.
I need to go on a honeymoon. The hardest thing about being married and COVID is never getting a holiday or a honeymoon. You people.
God's plans are better than our dreams.
It's true. But, you know, it reached a point where I was like, you know what, Sarah, being in this home, all on your own, make it a honeymoon. And I'll be like, this is like a honeymoon. This is great. And he's like, me going, we should do this, we should do that. But it worked and it's fine. And
that's good.
And I hope he's happy. Like, I make sure that I'm kind.
Make sure he's happy.
He's kind.
You cannot
make sure I'm happy.
Yeah, so you should make sure he's happy as well.
No, but like, he's kind and I'm kind and I strive to be. So, hey, someone's son, I have to make sure he's fine. They'll come for me, the marriage clan. I can't take that chance. So I'll make sure your son is happy and well.
Okay, good.
That's it from me.
That's good. I'm glad to hear that. I'm happy now. I'm rest assured.
Don't get too comfortable. Always be on edge.
I'm
so
now
you
waiting
can
for
set
the
up
grandchildren only.
We'll see one day.
I need those grandchildren.
Exactly. One day we'll see.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, thank you so much for tuning in to Life Talks with Immaculate and Sarah, and just share your experiences. Do subscribe so that you get to know when these videos come up. You can also like and click the notification bell, that one. So thank you so much for your support and spending this time with us.
Bye. Thank you. Thank you. Love you.